Yes, again, Nathalie Nkashama, that's my name. And I also have a business name, Alma's Chaltu.
Ooh,
It was given by the community I serve. Alma's was given by another tribe and Chaltu another tribe because I bridged the gap. It was given by bridging the gap at a different situation. It was a wedding that I helped, navigate communication between the American side and the African side. Child two was the same thing. I helped them bridge the gap between the city and them. So, which is the why of my business, bridging the gap. It's not just about food. World Mart has come a long way. It started with a brick and mortar, uh, but then we evolved to a city bus like business. It's a city bus that I transformed into a grocery and kitchen at the same time. It's like huge. Well, the topic today, I wanted to share about drawing water from the empty bucket. Uh, how can you draw water from an empty bucket? Like there's nothing inside, and yet you get water from it. Well, this is my story. It's the story of my business, and I believe any other business owner, like you turn around, there's nothing. Then where do you get resources? Where do you get inspired? Well, when we look at the astronaut, when they go into the space, right? They have to use even sometimes their own urine to turn it into water. So when we have nothing to do, you look at emptiness in your business, which I did in my business. There was nothing. There was a point where I was like at the breaking point, there was nothing. There's nothing. What do? The water comes from your tears. That's how you fill the bucket. You look down and you keep on crying. I look at that image of just the bucket empty, but you look, there's nothing. And what else comes? Frustration, tears, sadness, depression, anxiety, name it. All those are tears that fall down there. But as an entrepreneur, we don't let the tears go away. Just like the astronaut, they don't waste any urine that comes. I'm sorry to use this analogy, but there's
fantastic.
nothing to waste. Our tears become our story. And that story become inspirational. That story changes lives. Usually people will see a business like flourishing, looking so beautiful. Oh my God, it's beautiful. Oh, you're so strong. But they don't know behind that strong woman were tears. So when I've opened my business, I had different challenges dealing with culture, because I thought because I'm an African, yay, everything would just flow smoothly. People would join my business, they would buy, and I was the only and the first grocery store in town for all the Africans. No, I had to face jealousy. There's this thing in the African culture where if someone does something good or open a business, you don't want to support them thinking they will be better than us. We all should be the same. Unfortunately, it's a culture that is out there. And also, when I wrote my business plan, when we talk about competition, I didn't think about home businesses, people who sell from home. There was already a culture in place where people were able to either they travel out of town, which is about 3 hours and 45 minutes away, or 1 hour, which is very expensive to get their goods. So they found a way to start selling from home. People will buy, or some businesses will contact them and drop off stuff at their homes, and they sell. Those are the things I didn't know that I have to face. Um, when I participated at the startup, I learned about what is your why? Of course, I had it already, but I learned how to articulate it. And that became the biggest motive in my business, that like to always bridge the gap, to make a difference. Because I believe that in my business that everybody has something to share. The customers share something, I learn, and also I share. And that's how the exchange is what makes the business going. Not believing that we've got it all, but we can learn from even a customer. So, and every time as an entrepreneur, I always think about what's new, what's next. And I was thinking about it. And then 2019, end of 2019, I was thinking maybe I should close this business. Like, you know, my husband was like, just close it. It's like, it's taking your time, everything. But that passion, that why, my why is to bridge the gap was just burning so hard that I couldn't give up. I remember when I was asking a business owner, he's like, don't get into this business, just keep your job. Because I'm a social worker. I work for Nobles County. I have a full-time job. It's not that I'm paid way, sorry, I'm paid like way better than anybody else, but it can meet my needs. But there's a passion that you can give up. There's an art. For me, business is like an art. It's where I show the beauty from inside out. I bridge the gap in another form. And I couldn't just give up that side of me. It's part of me. How do you give up part of you? You can't. You have to do everything to make it work. So business is a part of us. It's an art that we can give up because it's a legacy. You would need to build legacy. So for me, that was giving up legacy. When somebody tells me to stop, it's like I have to give up my legacy. But I can't. Until my last breath, I will still have to bridge the gap. So with that, and I kept on looking around, there was nothing for me, nothing to share, nothing to say, when the whole world thought it has to be closed, including myself. But those are the tears. I would stay at my business staring at the ceiling left and right. I'm like, oh my God. Sometimes I had to trash food, lots of items, because they were perishing and nobody's just buying them. And then one lady walked in and said, hey, why are you closing? Because I put this stuff down. I said, well, I have a job and all that. It's hard for me to keep up and all that. She said, well, I can help you pack. I said, okay. And then I gave her the key to, come the next day and pack. She came in and packed everything, put it back on the shelves. Put it back on the shelves. She organized them so well. Oh my God, I was so excited and sad and not happy. I'm like, what did she do? But I'm like, oh, you know what? She started telling me, this is the items that people like, and giving me different ideas. And I started learning Amharic, which is the language of the people, pronouncing those items in their language, because we had language barrier. We are all Africans, we have different languages, and I wasn't speaking the language. So that's why I say, like, it's drawing, water from the empty bucket. You get inspired by people, by your tears, by your own pain. You don't give up. And then the pandemic came. I was already thinking on how to make my business self-sufficient, or where there's no staff member, because it was a struggle to, have staff members, and all this financial struggle and keeping up with the business. I was already thinking about it, but then came the pandemic. I couldn't have even a staff member there. We all remember that struggle. And I was running up and down after work, serving people. I said, you know what? I am going to close this door. And that's the idea of getting a trailer. And then I got a trailer, started serving people. I'm going to take a little break here really quick. I'll show you something. Okay, here. So I started serving people, and then, I drove with my kids. Oh, my kids were so inspired. That's the moment they thought, Mommy is really working. Like, amazing for them, because we drove together. I'll pick up, like, I'll take the U-Haul. I started with U-Haul, okay? That's the tears there. The tears. Started with the U-Haul, going to grab more items because people could not travel. They couldn't come to us. And I started delivering. I said, wait a minute, I can get a trailer, just from my experience with the U-Haul. And then with the U-Haul, the business went really, with the trailer, the business went really well, delivering goods to people. Then at one point I said, you know what, when the pandemic will be over, people will get readjusted to the life. They might not struggle like this anymore. So I need to come up with another plan. That's where I thought about a kitchen. And I applied to a grant. There were grants out there. Of course, you get loans and all that, but there were grants out there. I worked all night. Like another thing that helped me, having mentors, participating in life. I call this support groups. Like for me, this group that we come to is like a support group where you come in here, other people struggle. You say, you know what, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one, shedding tears. We got this together. I get up again and continue with my business. I get inspired. Even one word from somebody can make a difference in our business. I get up again, keep going and looking at different resources. One thing that I've learned is that there are so many resources out there. We need mentors who can guide us. And I've had a good one. Bernie, I've had Swift, and this group, of course, I've learned so much. I receive a lot of resources. I keep my eyes out there. And my mentor also from SBDC2, she's also looking out there. I have SRDC that I've helped along the way. We have to look at resources out there, state what is available to our business, what is tailored to our business. I did apply a grant and I got like $40,000 worth of grant, but that $40,000 is tears. I'm telling you, lots of tears. Like you have to get document together, paperwork together. And then the city of Worthington gave me a grant of like, 7,500. But it didn't come easy. Some people thought I shouldn't get it, in the city council, but there were voices out there to, advocate for me. So, and I also got this, this trophy from SRDC as the regional project of the year in 2020. So this is really good from me, my kids, and the passion that we keep on making. So I believe it's not about money. If you're in for money in business, you will be disappointed. I believe money is there, but what is more important is to share the why of our business, bridging the gap. So thank you so much, everyone, for listening to my story. It's never easy, but these are the tears. These are the water that I drew from the empty bucket.
I get it. It's shaped like a tear.
Oh,
nice. Look what you did. That's fantastic.
I don't know what it is, Natalie, but ever since you started talking, my eyes have been just watering and I don't know why. It's like I don't have, it's like my tears are just coming and I'm not crying. You're not making me sad. I just like, wow, that is a powerful story.
Yeah, thank you.
You are just a beautiful storyteller. Awesome.
Thank you.
So Natalie, give us a little better understanding of where your business stands right now. How does it operate? How much time do you spend on it? And maybe where do you see it going from here?
Well, I see it going far. Like I was sick in December and I didn't give up. I had put cameras on my bus before even I got sick. See, like we always get creative. I put cameras on my bus because I always think about how can my customer, since I have a full-time job, how can my customer be able to get stuff when I'm at work? So I set up cameras on my bus where, and the doors, of course, I'll let them know that I open the door. I'm sorry, but I don't. I leave it open for them, but there are cameras inside. I say, hey, yeah, I'll open the door for you. Let me know when you are there, then I can open the door for you. I know it's sensitive. Like if somebody comes by the bus, I will see my phone will let me know that somebody's coming by the bus. And when they enter inside, I can even talk to them through that camera. So it's easier for me to, step out a second or during my break time, schedule time for them to pick up their items. So I'm very happy with that system. Even when I was sick, that was possible for them to continue to get things. When I had COVID, it was still possible for them to get items without me being there. So I also check with the customers, making sure they wear their mask. They don't touch all items. I direct them where the items are. So really, now I'm planning to hire staff. I'm going through the process of hiring staff members. 2 possibly. One that will be more like close to full-time and another one part-time. My son is also helping a lot in my business now. I'm planning for him to continue to grow because he's learning. And my business is gonna be serving food to the community. I have today actually, the labels are arriving. I am making my first batch of the dry rubs. So if you're interested to try them, send a message to Betsy, and they're really good because I cook really good ribs. When I say I cook, I really cook. I know for my culture, you don't have, they say, oh, if you brag about something, that means it's not good. That was my culture. I don't know about the American culture, but I brag about what I cook because I know it's really good. How do I know? Customers' feedback. Oh yeah. When people eat the ribs, they go like, this is another level. Because I bridge the gap. I make ribs with African flavors, and I partnered with the local farmers. So to be selling food on my truck, when they do they sell, and I get their stuff and serve the community also. I resell them. So yeah, this year, my dry rubs will be out. And I'm bottling some of the, I'm putting in jars some of the vegetables that I make, and planning to have like breakfast already prepackaged, like healthy breakfast, since I'm also going healthy. So I want to share that experience with other people. So the biggest thing for this year will be bottling items, and I'm working to see how we can serve the other community besides the Africans. We have this app that people are using for grocery delivery. What if we can deliver grocery for a whole community, a whole small community? So I'm working on that. It's not finished yet, but I'm working on that plan to be able to serve, like you order your stuff from Walmart, people will order, then I drop off for them. They have a day where they pick up, because some people don't drive. Some people don't know how to get to town here. So we can still bridge the gap that way, bring more income and continue our passion going.
Wow. So just to make sure everybody understands your progression, which is amazing. So you started with a brick and mortar grocery store. You decided you had to turn to delivering from that store. So you started with a U-Haul trailer, then you closed your brick and mortar store and went into full-time delivery only store. So you were basically doing business out of a trailer, which was working. And so then you decided, I need a bus. And so then you said, I need a bus that can be a mobile grocery store, but you know what? I'd also like to put a commercial kitchen in my bus. So I'm going to need a big bus. So you drove across the country and found this bus and purchased it and used grant money and whatever else to have it completely remodeled into a mobile grocery store and kitchen, like a food truck. It's incredible. I didn't want anyone to miss those details because it's unbelievable. And what I love about you, Nathalie, is that you learn the idea of learning from everyone. Every change you've made has been a result of something you've learned from your customers. Is that fair to say?
It is fair to say I learned from my customers, and I learned from people. Like when I was sick, my manager from work brought me some food. It was all pre-made, and she put the labels there on how to heat, and I'm like, preheat, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna start doing that with the food I cook. Having them pre-made, and people can just put them in the oven and put all the dry rubs that I have here, boom. And then I make some nice soup. That one lady that owns the kitchen here, Fileo's Coffee, she tried them. She's like, do you sell this at your truck? I said, no, you should sell this. This is really good. So then last week, I think someone was sharing about the lady, what's her name? She does pottery.
Yeah, Morgan.
And then, yeah, Morgan, sorry. Yeah, Morgan. She was talking about how she put a soap, that matches the, the smell
the
of,
scent.
The scent of the pottery she's, selling. And then she calls it soap price, And I say, wait a minute, I can start putting soup and call it soup price, So we always learn and get inspired. So somebody would like the soup and say, oh, I like that soup. It's really good because it goes along with this, because I make nice soup, like really good ones. So I can put it there as part of in a small one so they can taste and can require it when, we have a business, we have cooking again going on, they can say, hey, I want that soup, so I'll know which one is the best seller by them trying those little soup that I'll put in their surprise, food package. And also it's bridge the gap because people get to know that, oh, even, Africans can cook this food. And for my community, I'm also prepackaging food for them to take to work. So
Wow.
always, I will be like in the jar. So I'm taking samples and taking pictures right now. So hoping May I'll present all the projects that I've been doing to the community. So I've been trying to be a little bit silent about that, so that when it comes out, it's just like a wow and makes a difference, of course. Yeah.
Wow. So how full is your bucket right now, Nathalie?
Ooh. It's really full now.
Mm-hmm.
It's really
So
full now.
you filled it back up, it sounds like, with all kinds of new ideas and new energy.
Yes. New energy, big energy, and great ideas. I am very confident about this and optimistic that it would work. Yes. I've gone through a lot of tests and learned a lot, and I'll continue to learn. It's a learning curve, in business. But I am very optimistic with what I'm doing right now, very confident.
I don't think any one of us here questions whether you are going to be successful at that. Fascinating. Anyone have questions? I know you do. There's so much to dig into here. Kristen.
Well, Nathalie, I often think of this story. Your stories I kind of carry around with me because they are so inspiring. But we had a conversation at one of these other roundtables, and you were talking about how your business was kind of your way of educating the community that you are in about your culture, and that you are using food as kind of a teaching mechanism to introduce the people of Worthington to your culture and your food, the stories around your food, and just to kind of do that. Could you speak a little more about that? Because I think when I hear your story, I want to know, how's that working? I mean, how is that happening?
Yes, it's important to educate. If you don't educate people, they will, you can't blame them for not knowing. Where would they learn? They haven't gone to Africa. All they can see is your neighbor or one experience, and then all Africans are the same. I remember when I opened the business, and the owner said, I trust you, Nali. I know you're good, but how are you gonna? Your neighbor next door are concerned. How are you going to, make sure that the bugs don't go, are not in the building? I said, bugs? And I said, well, we keep it clean. He said, like, you don't understand, like bed bugs? I said, oh. I said, oh. I said, well, we'll keep on cleaning. He said, well, let me help you understand. Like, sometimes people, when they come with the long dresses, and they will, they might put the purse down, and, those bugs can come. So he started telling me, this is what you have to do to keep it clean. I said, why does he think that people carry around bed bugs and, all Africans? But it could hurt me. But I just saw ignorance, a lot of people's behavior are ignorance, and some people will call them racism. It's ignorance. And so I know when it's racism. For me, racism is more systemic, meaning like banks, big corporate, people who have the ability to stop you. For instance, like getting a loan, living in a certain neighborhood, like they have the power to limit you. That's racism. But for other people, I think it's more of ignorance, because they don't have the power to stop me from opening my business, but they can spread bad rumors. That's true. So I thought, how can I teach the people that this is not what you think of all Africans? Because since one African can represent everybody, I can also represent a lot of Africans by teaching, like, African, because there's this thing of, oh, African food smells bad. And I tell people the reason why they smell like that sometimes because it's pure organic. It hasn't been processed the way some of the food are processed here. You see, organic food can spoil really fast compared to the one that I processed. So, and of course, some of the scent, when I say smell, is scent or smell, I don't know how you say, but it might not be pleasant to someone, but yet it tastes good, you know? And by opening this business, I try to bridge, like Americanize some of my dishes. You know, when people try them, like, this is good. And in my kitchen, in my grocery, I serve mostly East African and some West African that are here, and people who have adopted African kids. In the kitchen side, I serve, you know, all races that live in this town. So I'm very happy to see that. So I'm really Americanizing the food to make sure that in my community, each person will say, oh, I have tried African food before, you know? Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, good question. Good question. Jennifer, do you have any questions for Nathalie? You're muted though.
Sorry, I'm muted, and it's just better that way. No, Nathalie, I don't actually have a question for you, but I thought that was a great answer to Kristen's question, is how you have, I don't know, how you've just kind of bent and you form to fit. And I think that's amazing. It's very impressive.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Such a authentic representation of your why. How I remember
Right.
you saying everyone has something to learn and something to offer, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And
Everyone
you
has something.
just live it. You just live that. Amazing.
And don't you think, Nathalie, that I think all of us too, every time we get through, you know, like we've all gone through the pandemic, excuse me, and we probably still are. And it's not like, well, once we get that done, everything's going to be cool. Everything's going to work out, and our business plans is going to, you know, pick up where it left off. It's constantly altering. It's constantly changing, constantly growing, finding creative ways to do that. And I think you've done an extraordinary job of that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a challenge. You know, you get done with one challenge and another one comes, like for shipping and handling. You know, a lot of delays happen. And what do you do when you can't get the supply? You know, that's a challenge that I did not, I as a business went through, and I know many businesses have gone through that. There's a theater that is opening in my town here, and it's been like, what, 3 years or so? They're trying to get, you know, that thing going, and they said March. They keep on giving different dates, and it doesn't work. And one time I remember I made a post, when is this thing opening? Because I know I can watch TV at home. I fall asleep, you know. But if I go to a theater, it's much easier. My kids will keep me awake, like, mom, it's a good experience for us to get out there. So I was looking forward for this theater to really open, so I don't have to drive to Sioux Falls, where we have to go watch the movie, which is an hour away from my town. So I kept on saying, like, when are they opening? So I drove by the business and I saw some people that were working. I said, you talked about March. Like, when is this thing opening? He said, well, we're having a problem with shipping. Like, we have some parts. They were waiting for some parts and they don't have it. So I said, oh. Then that reminded me as a business owner, wow, I'm not gonna post about this and about this when they're gonna open, because I can feel that business owner, like what he's going through. Like for 3 years, he's trying to get something going, and yet, you know, there's always struggles one way or the other. Yes, in our businesses we go through that too, where you overcome one thing and then you have to face another thing. But hey, we're ready to draw from the empty bucket. You know, yeah. Whatever tears we have, the pain. You know, I listen to so many stories, and when I watch inspirational stories, I see that many of the greatest things that we have in this society came from greatest pain. You know, the greatest musicians are the ones that have gone through a lot of pain. And their songs are most beautiful songs are always the ones that came from pain. I don't know if you've observed that, you know, and then people relate from it, and you see them, boom, like They become the best singer, make money, whatever it is. So sometimes your pain can be turned into inspiration and money. It's a story behind the song. It inspires people, it changes life, it comforts people. So I believe the same for businesses. We can see Walmart, we don't know where they started, I bet they have a story. Everybody has a story to tell. And I do believe in, learning from others and sharing what I have.
Excellent. Thank you. Alyssa, are you there? Do you have any questions?
I am here. Thanks. Nathalie, I just hear so much resilience and grit in your story. And I'm just wondering where you get that from.
My faith. My faith in the Lord, I would say that. My faith is really where I always say I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Oh my goodness, I don't know what I would do without my faith. You have to have faith in people, faith in God, faith in something greater than you. I believe that God is the one that really, that's where I get my strength from. I know I can do all things. What does it mean, all things? And the weakest one, the strongest one, I can do all things, but it will all come together at the end. Really, my faith in God and believing that I always believe there's always something better, at the end of the tunnel. I also always believe that in every darker situation, like dark cloud, there's a silver line. That belief makes me push to get that silver line. Even if it's small, for me, it really means something. When I see somebody mistreating me or having a different understanding of life or doesn't give me the favor that everybody is getting, and I said, oh, this person doesn't know, doesn't know better. If he knew better or she knew better, I bet she wouldn't have treated me like this. So I try to always find the light in every situation, whether it's great or it's bad. I always try to find the why of everything, like, right? Why did this happen? Not that I have to blame myself all the time, but I always feel like, there's something that was missing here. If there wasn't, I would have seen the situation different. So to answer really is faith in God and also believing that there's always possibilities in life, no matter what.
I'm sure it's no surprise to you guys that Nathalie does some motivational speaking, in addition to everything else that she does, rightly so. Anything else, Alyssa?
Sorry, no, I had to unmute, but no, thank you so much, Nathalie. That was really inspiring to hear.
Thank you.
Hey, Chloe, this is one of the first times you've really heard Nathalie's story. I know you've met Nathalie. What's your takeaway from Nathalie's story so far?
Yeah, I guess I don't know if you remember this, Nathalie, but I was actually an intern for Betsy when you first went through startup boot camp, and I hadn't heard any of your story or anything that you were doing really until now. Like, I've been keeping up on Facebook here and there, but I haven't had the opportunity to really hear you talk about what you've gone through in the past couple of years or how much you've learned. And as you were talking, I just had chills, because I feel like when we went through boot camp and we were talking about how there was this gap in like your community between the different tribes, and you talking about how you didn't know how you were going to reach people in your community because of that jealousy and that not that innate, like, just response to, oh, we want to support a new business who's selling food that we might be eating, so just hearing all of that was so amazing to hear. And you've come so far, and I have no doubt that you're going to keep shooting for the moon, just like you said, which is amazing. But I guess one of the questions that I have, because your why has always kind of stuck with me, when you say you believe everyone has something to share or learn. What is the biggest or most profound things that you have learned from your community or from your customers over the past few years since you started?
What I've learned is that human beings have different perspectives. Yes, because I work with the African community, and we, as a social worker, I work also with, they get to meet with the Asian community. They also some of my customers, but I go to people's houses as a social worker, because in my social work, I do investigations like for, abuse, and also do family assessment, do parent support outreach, place kids in foster care and adoption, because it's a small country. So one social worker we only 5. So we do all that, and I've gotten to learn so much about, because with that job, I serve also everybody. So I've gotten to learn so much about human brain and attitude. And that that I apply also to my business, that human beings have different perspective about situations. We don't have to rush to conclusion when we see something. And when I remember business wise, when I came to that boot camp, we talked about everyone is not your customer. That meant a lot to me. Jealousy and all that, I've put it behind. That's why you don't hear me talk about it anymore. Now I talk about different challenges here, because now I get to understand that, yes, jealousy will be there, but they have a reason why. Everybody's an iceberg. Everyone is an iceberg, I believe, because you can see me today, but you don't see what underneath, what my emotions are. Customers will always react a certain way because they are icebergs. They have a different way of what happened in their life, what built their concept, their biases, and everything. So it's up to me as a business owner to teach my customer to overcome the biases. It doesn't happen overnight. So I've learned that everyone, regardless of race, age, have a different perspective of life. But we have to be patient to listen and, teach. Not everybody will always learn. That's one thing I know. Not everybody will learn. But perspectives are very different. Every human being has a different perspective of life.
What a healthy, amazing way to see all of that, which is probably the healthiest, most amazing way I've heard anyone describe how to maybe overcome some of the situations that are happening right now, or at least how to wrap your brain around it and find a place where you can grapple with all of it. That's amazing.
Yeah, we've seen that. We've seen that with, remember the mask situation?
Yeah. Yeah.
The mask, unmask, vaccine, no vaccine. Will Smith versus Chris Rock. He shouldn't have punched. He should have punched. When I looked at all that, I said, oh my goodness. Wow. We have different perspectives in life. Yes.
Brilliant. Wow. Kristen, do you have something?
I also have, I'm constantly reminded that you speak multiple languages, do you not?
I do.
Yeah. And I think how you are like the physical manifestation of a bridge, because you are able to communicate with so many different speakers of other cultures and, different people from different areas in your life. And I am just constantly amazed at how brilliant you are, because just being able to, I speak one language, and all you have to do is speak, and I'm realizing, oh my goodness, you do this, in multiple languages on top of everything else.
Yeah, there's beauty in learning languages. I can't tell you how much what I've learned so far have gotten me favors and opened doors for me. When let's say my customers come and they say, I want this thing, I say, speak it in your language. And then they say it in their language, I say, there you go. And then I start saying, talking about different, spices that I have in their language. They're like, oh my God, I say, what? They ask, what's your name? I say, Almaz. No, like your name, I say, Almaz Chaltu. Oh, they love it. And that alone has helped so many people overcome jealousy or whatever they hear on the side. So they embrace me as their sister in terms of their culture. And yeah, that has helped a lot, how to overcome, learning to show them that, hey, I hear you understand. Sometimes I wear the outfit and all those kind of things. So yeah, I bridged the gap that way. In even at my kids' school, I've been invited to go speak there, and I've shared even with the principal, like how she can have a trauma-informed care, school. And I brought a pastor from the town, which has the American culture, to come in at the meeting to help them understand how to bridge the culture. Why do all, African students leave the school with the impression that it's racist? And I told the principal, I said, I don't think the people are racist. It's just that they don't know who they are serving. When you don't know, you cannot better serve. So she was very happy about that. And I even gave her resources, links on where she can get it. That's bridging the gap. Well, World Mart is bridging the gap. So it's all about like making that difference, in everything. I traveled with my husband one time, and it was in Louisiana. So I met the people that were selling the craft and all that. And I said, where are you from? He said, I'm from Senegal. And I said, Nangadef, Mangi Ferry. And we started just like, he hugged me. And my husband's like, what if it was me? What if it was me doing this, But anyways, it was just funny. My husband was there, like, but he was so proud of me. Like, did you know how to speak the language? I said, I know how to say at least few words from, communicate better. They gave me a free t-shirt, and I met another one it was from Mali. And I know when I meet somebody, I try to learn something about the culture. When I lived in West Africa, I have lived in different countries because my dad worked for the UN, World Health Organization. So we had the experience of traveling to different places. And whenever I traveled there, I was in trouble with my mom because I always wanted to learn the culture and eat the food, street food. You will get sick. I will bring street food and hide it and go eat it. Eat it. And if I go to my friends' home, I always wanted to see how their mom cooked the food. I said, let's go to the kitchen and have conversations. So I wanted to see. I love to learn, like different food, different cultures. I love to try. I can't say it's bad until I try. When I travel, I don't go to restaurant that I know. I go to, like last time I tried Greek food. I tried food from Haiti, Dominican Republic. Oh my God, so much riches in different food. Don't say it's bad until you try it. Of course, there are certain things I would never eat. But I always try most food from different cultures, at least to say, I have tried it and I know it's good or it's not. Language is really great thing. Yeah, I got 3 items in Louisiana. And then he was like, wow, you know different languages. I say, yeah, you might not know all the languages. 5 is the one that I speak fluently, but I have all the languages that I know, like one word from here and there that I can communicate. And I also speak I call it language learner English. I had a staff member, who I had 2 staff members because I work also with the youth in our community. Like there's a program through PIC, the Private Industry Council, where young people can go to school. And if they go, those students that have struggled with attendance, if they go to school, they get paid. Like they will come work with me, and if they went 15 minutes late, they won't come to work. They have to let me know that they didn't come, they didn't go, they went late at school. Therefore, they will not work and they will not be paid for that. You work, you go on time at school, and you go to work and you get your money. So I also work with youth in my business that way. And that youth spoke Spanish and English. Is like, how do you communicate with Lily, which was my staff member who spoke Spanish, but English was big struggle. How are you able to communicate with her? I said, well, I speak all languages, even the unknown, because we communicate. There's a way to communicate with everyone. Like we can use sign language. I can use like my phone. And she's one of the best staff. Like she can keep the place clean and neat, and she understood really the way I did the business, But yet language could have been a barrier. So I always believe everybody has something to offer. And she offered much than those that spoke the language could.
What a story. Amazing. You know, Natalie, one topic that we haven't covered that a lot comes up a lot, especially in boot camps when we start talking about how hard it is to run a business and start a business because of the time with family is sacrificed often. And you have kids and you have also a husband who's supportive, yet has been at times kind of like, you know, questioning what you're doing. How have you managed to bring your family along on this journey?
Ooh, being able to articulate my business and the why, like I used to say, everybody has something to offer and learn. Then I cut it, I made it shorter to bridging the gap. When they ask me, why do you do this? Because sometimes I can appear as a crazy woman, you know, like she's doing this, she's doing that. But myself being able, oh, I'm bridging the gap, remember? Are you filling out paperwork for people finally? What do you do? I'm bridging the gap. So that has been really helpful for my husband. And for me, my husband's, critics of the business makes me think of many people out there who can also question, you know? That's like I say, I like to see the light in everything. When he said, maybe you should do, just stop it. He has a reason why, because he sees his wife, struggling and going through that. So I have to make him, my role was like, okay, he might not see it that way. My role is to make him learn that what my business does. When he has learned, and I say, you know what? For me, this is also therapy. At one point, I said, honey, this is therapy for me. When I bridge the gap, I'm very happy. And then if I didn't, if he saw like I was sad a little bit, he's like, hey, did you save some customers? You know, did you save some customers today? Did you do this today? Like, hey, go help people because you know that I can be happy.
Oh, thank you.
Hello?
Thank you.
Yeah. So that for him, he understood that bridging the gap is also therapy for me. It makes me happy. And it's very supportive and also understood what he can do and cannot do. For instance, I know it can help me with moving things and unloading stuff. For instance, it can help me with that. It can help. It is also a way for me to hear what other people can say about my business. My kids are very supportive. My oldest is helping. The youngest ones want to really help, but I try to make sure that it's in between. So I give each one of them their time. It's not about quantity, it's about quality time. So I am still learning, but I've managed to give them quality time to my husband and children. And when they complain, I won't listen because I know I've bridged the gap already, and that has been very helpful. And my husband is become more supportive and believing in what I do. Like when I told him for the bus, I was so scared to introduce it to him because I looked at the size of the bus, it's so huge. Oh, and when I told him, hey, this is what I want to do, and I shared with him, he said, go get it. He had to drive to Tennessee to get the bus. That was a miracle for me. I said, whoa, sometimes don't just overthink. Speak it. If it's not good, fine. If it's great, keep going. So he really has embraced the food truck and grocery idea really well. Sometimes he asks questions, but I believe it's great to have people ask us questions.
That's really good. That's really good how you've been able to use the why and that passion to just educate your family too, as much as anyone. And I remember you saying a few times that your kids have caught a little bit of the entrepreneurial bug?
Yes. Oh, yeah. They want to open the business. My son wrote a book. It's not a book. It's a booklet. It's over there. I don't want to move again, but it's a booklet about the story about Alma's childhood. He wrote it with a pen and staple. Oh, it's so beautiful. I was so impressed. Really quick. Here it is. Okay. For me, this meant a lot. The story of Alma's childhood. So he wrote this little thing about how I started my business, how I'm bridging the gap in the community, how everybody get to know me, because of the business and how it's about, like, he's talking about bridging the gap here. Oh my goodness. This meant a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot to me. Having my son do that. Look at that, stapled, he's 9 years old and he did this. So they all talk about mom. They want to open their own business. My oldest loves to cook. He wants to bring his recipes, but he said, Mom, we want something small, different, that we can do. They actually opened their own company, but it's still bubble candy shop. They want to start selling candies and making different types of drinks, of juice, bubble juice and name it. What they say, Mom, we love your business. They help me. They also want to open their own, the brother's business, the brother's company. So I was so happy to hear that I showed them the way. We went on the website, how to create a company on the Minnesota State Secretary.
Secretary of State. Yep.
Yeah, of State, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they did that. They went to open the business. So we are not done yet. I said, let's finish one thing, but I was just showing them the rope, what it takes to get there. Yeah, I'm very proud of my family, my kids, that I know if they open the business, they will be very successful. They will learn from the struggles I've gone through.
I think that story is as inspiring as any, because part of running a business and starting a business is finding a way to balance, of course, and bring along your family and get them on board. And it's not easy. It's not easy. So I really appreciate you sharing that. And I know it didn't really start out feeling as good as it feels now. And you've worked at that really hard.
Yeah, it wasn't that easy. Not at all.
Yeah. Well, Nathalie, what a gift to hear your story and be inspired by you. And you're helping fill our buckets for sure. So thank you so much. I recorded this because I really feel like it's going to be a valuable thing for others to jump on and watch, even though they couldn't make it to our roundtable. So thank you for that.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. All right, you guys, it's been awesome this morning. Thank you. And we will see you next week.
Thank you, Nathalie. It was great.
Thanks, Nathalie.
Thank you.